So here we go. So I am Sarah Marie Paul. I am a wellness educator. I've been doing this for about 3 years, and I love it. I love teaching. I'm passionate about it. I am a natural born educator, and I love talking about wellness, and I love talking about my journey of self-discovery and empowerment. And my goal is to help to be a light for you so that you realize what your full potential is, and whether that potential is in living a healthier, cleaner life, or whether it is just releasing some of the lies that you have believed since you were 6 years old, or whether it's that you believe that you can live a more abundant life, a more free life. That's what I'm here to just kind of talk about. And I am so excited to talk about this journey this evening because it's something that I have been working very, very hard on for the past 3 years. And that is really just figuring out what has been holding me back in different parts of my life. And it is actually become a really fun process. In the beginning, it was a very emotional process, and at times it is still very emotional. But now I love seeing where I get to and then investigating and trying to figure out what's the next belief I have to overcome, what's holding me back this time. So now I'm finding it to be more of a fun activity, but it can be really emotional in the beginning. So I'm just excited to be here and to be a little guide for you in this evening. And in the comments, you just told me something you're grateful for. Can you tell me why you're here tonight? What are you looking forward to getting from this evening? Let me know what you're looking forward to getting from. And I'm gonna read a little quote to you while you do that. And it's short, but I want you to just kind of think about this. It says, if you accept a limiting belief, then it will become a truth for you. And that is by Louise L, who I love. So if you accept a limiting belief, then it will become a truth for you. And some of you may be saying, okay, all right, that makes sense. But I want you to really think about that. It says, if you accept a limiting belief, then it will become a truth for you. So that means you have a choice here. You have a choice whether to accept it and bring life to it, or you have a choice whether to block it and not allow it and to change it. So that's what we're really going to focus on this evening. We are going to focus on identifying wherever you may be stuck, identifying whichever thought or feeling may be keeping you from living to your fullest potential, from living to where you are full of happiness and full of joy throughout your day. And we're also going to be really, really talking about listening to your emotions, listening to what's inside of you more intentionally than what you do. And some of you may be saying, yeah, I'm full of anxiety. That doesn't sound like fun, but just follow me here this evening. Come with an open mind and let's just do this together. Okay? Are you ready? Ready to do this? Ready? Who's ready? Come on, give me something. All right, who's ready? Who's with me? Let's do this. What? All right, I'm gonna put some more joy on. Okay, so I hear all sorts of things. People are ready. Distinguishing between truth and your inner voice that yells. Yeah, that ego. We're gonna talk a little bit about that. Wanting to be able to identify, break the limiting beliefs in your life. Wanting to reach your goals. Be happy about it while you're doing it, right? You want to enjoy this journey that you're on. Oh my gosh. All right, let's just do this. So first, we're going to talk about what are limiting beliefs. And then we're going to go to where do they come from. So this is just a little bit of background information. Limiting beliefs. What are they? My goodness. There are so many different ways that you can define them. But basically, if you are thinking about a belief in general and a limiting belief. So limiting belief is something you believe to be true that limits you in some way. The limiting belief could be about you, it could be about other people, or it could be about the world. Okay, so these beliefs just don't have to be negative self-talk that you're giving yourself about you. It can be about certain scenarios and the way that you frame, the way that you look at the world, or the way that you frame certain people, men, women, moms, dads, all different types of people, okay? And these beliefs may be holding you back from making different choices in your life. They may keep you from seeing the different opportunities that are presented to you each day. They can prevent you from seeing your own gifts or accepting the gifts that are offered to you. And they can keep you stuck focusing on the negative aspects of your circumstances rather than seeing them for what they really are. That is what limiting beliefs are. How many of you believe that you may have one or two of those? Just a couple, right? And I am also going to tell you I'm an imperfect person. I am on this journey with you. And I'm just going to tell you what has worked for me, because this is something that I love self-help. I love learning more and being more connected with my spiritual self. I love all of that. And I find it to be something that I just want to be a better version of myself each day. So this is something that I have really worked hard with, because I know from when I grew up, because guess what, guys? Most of our limiting beliefs are created by the time that we are 6 years old. Okay, and some of you may be like, I'm angry about that. And I am just going to encourage you that you can be angry, feel that anger, then you're going to have to let it go in order to move on from those limiting beliefs. Because speaking from experience, I spent a lot of years being really angry about opportunities that I never had, about ways that I was mistreated, about circumstances of my life that I had no control over whatsoever. And I felt like it was unfair. It's not fair. Why did this happen? Why was it like this? That's not fair. Okay, guess what? That's not fair. That's a limiting belief. Right there, that statement, that's not fair, limiting belief. Okay, we're going to talk more about that too. But in order for you to be able to move on, you have to forgive. In order for you to forgive, you have to have compassion. And in order for you to have compassion for someone else, first you have to have compassion for yourself. Okay, so we're going to talk all about these beliefs. So where do they come from? They come from all over the place. Just told you, most of them come from the time before you are 6 years old. They can come from family members. They can come from teachers, coaches. They can come from the media. They can come from society and the pressures that society puts upon us. They can come from your culture. They are formed by repeated thoughts over and over and over again, repeated language over and over and over again, mostly created in childhood from interactions with the people around us. But do not put blame on them. You are an adult. None of us are 6 years old anymore. Not even close. Okay? So we can feel that feeling. We can know that's where they came from, but it's up to us to be able to acknowledge and to release. And we're going to work through an activity tonight to be able to do that too. So as children, our brains are not fully developed. They can take on many limiting beliefs from their immediate environment. In addition, they don't know the difference between what is real and what is not real. Okay, my son is 4. He's constantly asking me, like the other day, he could not get over the fact that dragons were not real. And he was like, what do you mean, Mom? They're not real? And I'm like, no, they're not real. Well, then why do we talk about dragons? Well, someone thought dragons were cool to talk about, and that's why we talk about them. Like, it's just make-believe. Well, what do you mean it's make-believe? What about dragon eggs? Are just dragon eggs real? Okay, these are conversations that I have on a daily basis. Think about if I were to just lie to him, right? And just tell him dragons are real. Yes, those eggs over there, those are dragon eggs. And I could tell him these things. What would he do? He'd believe me, right? He would. Because one, I'm his mom. So I'm like one of his main people in his entire life, in his entire universe right now. He trusts me. He looks to me for guidance. And my word is basically rule to him. So I'm powerful in that. A lot of us that are in that situation of being a mother or being a father, they don't realize that. Like, you don't realize the impact of your words. Shoot, a lot of us don't realize the impact of our words that we have on other people in general who aren't our children, who are just from the regular. And you can see that with the way that that people act towards one another as well, right? They don't even realize the impact of their words. So what can happen is that a situation happens in childhood. Interpretation by the child is made of the situation. Okay? That leads to meaning later on, and that meaning led to a thought. So then that person, that child, then believed that that thought, whether it was true or not, kept thinking it as other similar situations occurred over time. Subsequently, it became a belief. So it became something that whenever that similar situation happened, they associated it with that. So another example of this happened today. As I'm doing all of this, I'm sitting down and I'm writing this whole class for you. Holy cow, I'm like, all right, I'm good. Can't wait to talk about this. And all these limiting beliefs started to pop up. I'm like, what is happening here? Things that I didn't even think were limiting beliefs. And it was amazing because my son is my greatest teacher. I came home, I was pumped. And first thing he says out of his mouth, I go downstairs, he's wearing a construction hat and a bell around his neck, and he's running around happy as a clam. And I'm like, how was your afternoon? And he goes, it's good, Mom. I'm going to sing a song for you. I said, okay, that sounds great. Hit it. I want to hear your song. And he goes, are you going to sing with me? I said, sure, I'll sing with you. And he goes, are you a good singer? Huh. And normally, you know my response, what it would have been? No, I'm not a good singer. Why? Because it's something that when I sit here and I talk to you about it now, I pinpoint it back to like early elementary choral tryouts when I was in like 3rd, 4th grade. And ladies, I'm not the best singer, but do you know what? Did I have the potential to be a way better singer? Absolutely, right? Can you do voice exercises? Can you do those things? But that was like rule to me. I was in the alto group. I had a very low voice, like I'm not a high, pretty voice. I remember being in church and I would not want to sing. I remember, also hearing that from my mom. She didn't tell me I was a terrible singer, but her saying that she was a terrible singer. Well, my mom's a terrible singer, and I didn't make the choir solo. And I'm standing here now in chorus and making my parents come to this concert, and I'm lip singing, right? On the little stage, la, 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 la. Like that's what I did. So my son asked me this question, and typically I would have just said, no, I'm not the best singer. You are way better than me. But I stopped and I said, you know what? I think I'm a pretty good singer. And he looks at me and he goes, yeah, but are you a better singer than me? I said, I don't know about that. And he said, are you just as good as me? Oh my gosh. And I was like, I am being tested right in this moment for what I'm going to talk to you about tonight. And it has nothing to do about singing, but think about it. I had never even thought about that. That is a limiting belief that I have on myself, but there are things that are much deeper than if I'm a good singer or not, ladies and gentlemen. Much bigger than if I'm a good dancer or not. Okay? These go way deeper. And I want you to think about this. Ready for this quote? Nothing binds you except your thoughts. Nothing limits you except your fear, and nothing controls you except your beliefs. They control you. But the beauty of that is that you control your beliefs, or you can. You have the power to do that.
Can you say that again, Sarah?
Absolutely. Nothing binds you except your thoughts. Nothing limits you except your fear. And nothing controls you except your beliefs. And that's a quote by Marianne Williamson, who I love. I love her. Love, love, love her. Love all the things she does. And it's true. Like, sit and think about that. Your thoughts are what binds you. Fear is what limits you. And please, we got a lot of that going on right now. And then nothing controls you except for those beliefs, the beliefs that you have. So that's where they come from. And I'm sure some of you are sitting on some emotions right now, right? Maybe my choir tryouts. Maybe you were one of those people who would have been next to me lip singing and just like, I can't sing. That's not me, right? And afraid to belt it out. Or I can't dance. You know, my parents always said they don't have rhythm. I don't have rhythm either, right? But then you look at a 4-year-old who doesn't have any of this yet, if they're being in a nurturing environment. And they freaking dance all the time. They sing all the time. They do whatever feels good to them. They do it, and they let those feel-good feelings motivate what they do all day long. We lost that. We lost that somewhere along the way. But the beauty of it is you can get it back. And I speak from experience. This is new. Like, I am awake and I am living life and I am listening to my instincts. And my anxiety has never been less. And I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm just here to talk to you about you can do this. And it might be scary at first, seriously. But guess what? That's a limiting belief too. So what are some examples of these? Well, some may be general, some may be quite specific, okay? I could give you another musical example. Fun fact about me, I played the string bass when I was in 4th grade. String bass and choir. I really had musical hopes and aspirations. I played a string bass. I walked to school because I lived in the city. Picture me about 4'10", walking to school every day, carrying a string bass. Okay, string bass is the big, huge string bass. Okay, I would walk that bad boy to school every day. I would sit down. That's what I wanted to play. And I remember my music teacher telling me, perhaps you should try a cello, or maybe a violin would be better for you. And I said, no, I want to play the string bass. This is what I want to do. And I played. There was one other person who played the string bass out of my entire elementary school. I would sit with him. He was really good. Like, he still is really good. He plays in a band and stuff like that now. He was a very good friend of mine. And I remember immediately that moment, comparison. The teacher told me, you're not as good as this, I'll call him Bob. You're not as good as Bob. You need to try something different. Crushed right there. That moment, crushed. I tried the violin after that because I thought she was right. I believed her, right? I trusted her. I thought she was smarter. I thought she was better. I thought she knew. I thought she was trying to help me, and maybe she was, but she didn't realize that she had power with which she changed my belief system just like that. I tried the violin for half a year. I quit after that because I wasn't passionate about it. I wanted to play this big string bass. And then forevermore, boom, no more music for me. I didn't plan to talk to you about music, but I wasn't good enough. That was my belief. I'm not good enough. No matter how much I practice, I'm never going to be as good as Bob. So I might as well just quit. My teacher doesn't even want me to play this instrument. My parents would complain when I practiced because I wasn't very good. Okay. All of those things, limiting belief, boom, you are not musically inclined. Was it true? I don't know. I don't know if I would be any better. I'm sure that I would have been able to get better because that is a skill that you can improve upon. Other beliefs. I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy of, I am not a worthwhile person. I am not enough. Fill in the blank. Pretty enough, smart enough. I'm not fit enough. I'm not tall enough. I'm not rich enough. I'm not whatever enough, okay? All of those blanks. I don't deserve it, or someone deserves it more. Or the flip side of that, I deserved that to happen to me because I'm not a good person. Examples of limiting beliefs. I don't have enough blank. You fill in the blank. I don't have enough time. Limiting belief. We all have the same amount of time, friends. We all do. I don't have enough support. I don't have enough experience. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough brains. I don't have enough talent. I don't have enough anything there. Huge next one. There is not enough for everyone. So I'm just gonna sit this one out. There's really not enough for everyone, so I'm gonna miss this one out. Going for lack instead of abundance. Okay? There's not enough to go around. When in reality, there is enough. There is enough for all of us. There is. Another one that I've heard spoken, good people, they don't have money. It's not godly to have money. It's not spiritual to have money. I don't want people to think I'm fill in the blank. I don't trust myself. I can't handle it. I'm going to fail. So why even bother trying? Can you relate to any of these? Yeah, right? I can relate to them. I totally can. A lot of different ones. Out of that list, the one article that I read, which I thought was interesting, is that the one that they claim to be the biggest fear is, I can't handle it. The biggest limiting belief, I can't handle it. This is too much, I can't handle it. I'm gonna check out, okay? This is too much, closing the book, not even going there. This is too much, I can't get started. This is too much, I'm not gonna finish it. This is too much, I'm not having that conversation. Okay? And there, I don't know, how do you feel about that? What do you think might be the biggest limiting belief that we just talked about? What's one that resonated with you? Mention it in the comments below. You don't have to get specific. I went through a big old list. What do you think? What do you think is one that's like, all right? Natasha said, I say that to myself 10 times a day. Yes, I know, I've been there. Oh, I'm not gonna have that conversation. I can't handle that. I can't handle that right now. How many of you have said that? Can't handle that. You go into the conversation with that thought, and guess what? You're not going to handle it. Okay? So we're going to talk about that. How do you transform limiting beliefs? But first, I'm going to do a little activity with you that is kind of interesting. I thought it was pretty interesting. And this is going to be to identify a couple of them. And then we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of letting go. There's, I can't, I don't have enough time, not good enough, no one listens to me, nobody's interested in what I have to say, I can't do it, I failed before, what's the chance this time's gonna be any different? I can't, what are they gonna think of me? Right? So we're gonna talk about reframing some of those thoughts. Yeah, not good enough, right? Not good enough. So I want you, on your paper, okay, we're going to do a little activity to identify a couple limiting beliefs, because I think this is interesting too. And I am going to start with the beginning of a little, of a phrase, and I want you to write the first word that comes to mind, okay? Don't think about the answers. It's one of those things. Don't think about it. Just write whatever comes to your mind first. You can number them if you want. Okay, so we're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 different answers. So number your paper 1 to 11 and get ready. Here we go. Are you ready? Limiting beliefs, here we go. First thing to come to mind, number 1, I am . Number 2, women are . Number 3, men are . Number 4, I can't . Number 5, I have to . Number 6, I've never been . Number 7, life is . Number 8, relationships are . Number 9, work is . Number 10, sex is . And number 11, food is . Okay. So I'm just going to read the beginnings again as you go over your list, and I want you to take a look at your answers. Some of your answers may have shocked you. Don't worry. It happened to me when I read through this exercise too. But the good news is, although some limiting beliefs might be deeply ingrained, identifying them is the first step to changing them. So step number 1 was I am. 2 was women are. 3 was men are. 4 was I can't. 5 was I have to. 6 was I've never been. 7 is life is. 8, relationships are. 9, work is. 10, sex is, and 11, food is. Okay? So that's just another activity to identify some of those limiting beliefs that perhaps you don't even realize that you have. Some of them we know, right? Those emotional triggers right from the get-go. I know a lot of you were saying, I'm not good enough. Geez, I had so many, this whole list going through, not good enough, not good enough, not good enough, not good enough. And a lot of you attributing that back to your mother or your father or, you know, whatever happened early in life. I remember bringing home my report card, being very young, bringing it home, showing it to my father, and being so happy about my report card and having like all A pluses, having 1A on there, and me saying I got straight A's, and him saying to me, well, what about that one? Like, what do you mean that one? They're all A's. Like, how amazing is this? Like, I worked so hard for this. And he said, yeah, well, next time you should really bring that one up to an A plus. And that was the focus, right? That was always the focus. So that led me to always focus on achieving and going to try my hardest to achieve, to prove something from external to make me happy, to show me, oh my gosh, you got this, you got this. Now that equates to you being successful, or you got this. Now that equates to you feeling good, or you got this. Now you are worthy, or you got this. Now you're good enough. But as long as I had that belief that I needed that external something to show me that I was good enough, guess what? I never felt good enough. And that's something that I'm still working on, that external, you need this to feel this way. So what are some ways to work on this? I have some incredible resources that I'm going to be sharing with you via email, but I'm going to work you through another activity in just a minute. Something that has really helped me is to be more mindful of my thought process. And I know that Jill, you had shared something in the comments when I was chatting earlier. I'm going to go back up to find it now. But being more mindful of my thoughts and using my emotions as a guide to whether I am, here we go. Jill said, something we teach in the office is that your thoughts, T, create your feelings, F, which dictate all your actions, and then that creates your reality, right? And I know that you've been working through a Tony Robbins program too, right, Jill? Yeah, which is just fantastic. And I'm going to share a resource with you that I found earlier, which is literally all about, going much deeper into this. It's a free downloaded book that you can download. I'm going to send you that resource. Then you can kind of get more really in depth to what is specific to you. But something that has really helped me to piggyback on what Jill had said in the comments is really using your emotions as a barometer for if you are in the feel good, like in the flow of feeling good. Because what I truly believe is that you have the ability to feel good at any time of the day, no matter what your circumstances are. There is a flow of feeling good that is all around you at any time of the day. Always. It is constantly flowing. Always. Okay? It cannot be turned off. It is up to you whether you are allowing it or whether you are blocking it. And you can allow it with your energy or with your frequency, or you can block it with your energy or with your frequency. Okay? So other people can't make you feel bad. There are things that can be upsetting to you, and you can allow yourself to feel those emotions. But when it comes down to it, there's still there is this flow of feeling good. There is this flow all around you at every single moment of the day. And it's up to you whether or not you are tuned into it or whether you are not tuned into it. There are different things we can do in order to increase our frequency, to kind of match it to that feel good thought pattern, or we can drop our energy levels down at certain times of the day too. So I believe that it is important to really focus on your emotions as a guide to whether or not you are in that flow or that thought pattern, or whether you're fallen out of it. So there are feelings that I have had, like anxiety, like depression, like being impatient at times, okay? Oh my gosh, being angry, being all these different emotions, right? We've all felt all these things. And for many years, I was just like, I'm just anxious. It's just who I am. And I'm not saying that I may not be more prone to anxiety than someone else or any of those things, but when push comes to shove, it's up to me to try to choose that other emotion or to choose that other thought pattern and to raise my frequency higher to match it. So what I have been doing, I've been working through Gabrielle Bernstein's, my goodness, I've been working through her manifesting challenge. I've done it 3 times this year. It's a 21-day manifesting course, which I love it. And it really talks to you about a lot of the practices that Marianne Williamson talks about, a lot of the practices that are in this book that I'm going to read a little excerpt for you too, which is called Ask and It Is Given. Have any of you read this book before? Anybody? Jill says yes, it's awesome. So this is by Esther and Jerry Hicks, and it is a wonderful, wonderful book. And it just talks more about your emotions. It also talks more about manifesting what you want in your life and not focusing on what you don't want, which I know is way easier said than done. So something that it talks about in here that I thought would be really helpful for all of you. I'm going to read just a little excerpt because I thought that it was absolutely perfect. I was reading this book. I'm also listening to it on audio because I think it is that valuable for just new thought patterns. It talks a lot about the law of attraction as well. So it says, when you continue to focus upon any thought, it becomes increasingly easy to continue to focus upon it because the law of attraction is making more thoughts like it available to you. And so, emotionally speaking, you are developing a mood or an attitude. Vibrationally speaking, you are achieving a habitual vibrational groove, so to speak, or a set point. Your mood is showing you a good representation of what you are inviting into your experience. This is where emotions come into play. Ready? Your mood is showing you a good representation of what you are inviting into your experience. So I come home, I'm agitated, I see my family, my son drops a bowl of peas on the floor. I react to those peas being on the floor by saying something, oh my gosh, I can't believe that you dropped that again on the floor. Now I have to clean it up again. His energy levels then meet my energy levels. He becomes more frantic. I keep going on that same energy path. My husband comes into the room. He reacts immediately because it's just filling the room. Have you ever had one of those experiences happen? Yes, right? You're there and all of a sudden it just keeps going and you say, oh my gosh, could one more thing happen today? One more thing. What else? What else is going to happen? What do you think? You're talking like that. What else is going to happen? Boom, something else is going to happen, and it's going to happen just like that. And then people make excuses. Oh, it's the rule of 3. Oh, one bad thing happened. What else is going to happen? Come on. And guess what? Another bad thing happens. Oh, well, my day, it's just awful. And I can't believe that this just happened. And what's going to happen next? Boom, here comes the next one. Drop, boom, right into your life, right? Yes, and Eve said in the classroom. that is perfect, right? The way that kids react to each other is like that all the time. If you are a school teacher, you totally get that. And what you said, Jill, what you think about is what you bring about. Absolutely. But guess what? Many of us don't want to admit that, because then there's nobody else to blame. Okay? And even if you have these limiting beliefs from when you were 6 years old, you can't go back and blame your parents. You can't. What is that going to do? How is that going to help release any of the limiting beliefs that you have now? It's not. You have to forgive them. You forgive them. You don't even ever have to tell them. Some of you don't even have the opportunity to tell them that you've forgiven them. And that's okay too. You forgive for you. Because otherwise you are going to carry that on your shoulders forever. Forever. And you are going to instill that in your children, and guess what, in your grandchildren, and guess what, everyone is going to feel that when they're around you. They're going to feel it. But you have the control, right? You have the control to change that. And using your emotions as a barometer as to whether or not you are tuned into the state of feeling good or whether you are not. Because you always have the opportunity. You always have the opportunity to feel good. You always do. It's here. It's here for you. God has given it to you, or whoever you believe in, the universe has given it to you, and it is here all the time. And God wants you to feel good. Just telling you. Okay? Yes. And in that aspect, Jill, what you said, that scenario, that's where I can inadvertently give Cooper a limiting belief in himself. You dropped it again on the floor. You're a mess. Boom. What's going to happen? He's going to think, I'm a mess, right? He dropped something on his pants. He's going to be on his first date when he's 16 and he's out at a restaurant with a girl, and he's going to be thinking about the whole time, I'm a mess. I'm a mess. I'm a klutz. Oh my gosh, I'm going to drop this, right? We are that powerful. We don't realize how powerful our thoughts are and how powerful our words are, but that is literally what creates the whole reality as we perceive it. It is, okay? So your mood is showing you at all times a good representation of what you are inviting into your experience at that very moment. Your mood or your general feeling about something is a clear indication of your practice vibration. In other words, whenever any subject is activated within you, through your exposure to your environment, your vibration jumps immediately to your most practiced vibrational place or set point. To what you know. Okay? To what you know, to what you have practiced, to what you have repeated time and time and time again. It goes right there. It's our job, if that is a negative thought pattern, or if that is a limiting belief that we have identified that we want to change, to choose again. You choose again. You can identify that thought. You can say, okay, I hear that thought. I see that thought. Okay, I was coming to you to speak to you this evening, thinking, who am I to speak to them? I have my own limiting beliefs. I got my own stuff. Who am I to speak to you? And then immediately I said, wait a second, who am I? I am someone who's trying to bring love and light into the world. And I'm someone who is trying to speak about my experiences in hopes that they can help other people. And that's enough. I am enough. I had the opportunity to choose again. So for example, let us say that when you were a child, your parents experienced severe financial difficulty. We didn't even talk about money. We didn't even talk about all the limiting beliefs behind money, that poverty mindset. And so the lack of money and the inability to purchase desired things was often discussed in your home, with the accompanying emotions of worry and fear. Often in response to your request for something, you were told that money doesn't grow on trees. Anybody hear that? Money doesn't grow on trees? Anybody say that? And that just because you want it doesn't mean you're going to get it. And that you, like everyone else in this family, should learn to do without. That is just the way it is. Because of years of exposure to these thoughts of lack, your habit of thought around the subject of money, your emotional set point became one of low expectation. Low expectation of financial success. And so whenever you thought about money or abundance, your mood or attitude would immediately shift to disappointment, worry, or anger. Or when you were a child, maybe your friend's mother was killed in an automobile accident, and then your close association with someone who was experiencing such difficult, severe childhood trauma made you fearful for the well-being of your own parents. Whenever they traveled somewhere by automobile, you would be gripped by fear until they returned. And so bit by bit, you developed a habit of worry about the well-being of those you loved. Your emotional set point became one of insecurity. But the beauty of this is that they can be changed. They can be changed through practice, okay? They can be changed through practice. But the thing is, most people do not deliberately offer thought. Instead, they let their thoughts gravitate to whatever is happening around them. Something happens, boom, they observe. They have an emotional feeling response to what they're observing. And since they usually feel powerless in controlling what they're observing, they conclude that they have no control over their emotional response either. It's just the way I feel. I'm an emotional person, right? I'm very empathetic. I feel like I'm very empathetic. However, I heard a different take on that today, which was being empathetic. If you are lowering yourself, if someone is in a very, very poor state, okay, if they are really upset and you go and you match their energy right then and there and you bring it down to their level, that's not helping that person. You think by being empathetic, you are helping that person. You're putting yourself in their shoes. However, the best thing to do would be to be a light for them, to be a light, to be an inspiration to them, to be a guiding force for them, to offer more love and light and not to go right down to the way that they're feeling. But friends, you have absolute control over the set points that you achieve. And you have to understand that. You have to understand that. So letting your feelings be your guide. If you are in tune with that and you are feeling all the feels and you are going through your day and you are in tune with what is making you feel really anxious or what is making you feel really sad or what is making you feel really angry, and taking that breath and choosing to feel a different emotion or choosing to do a different task if you're able to, those are all amazing things that can really help you. Another activity, and we have about 8 minutes and I don't want to keep you any longer on limiting beliefs. I'm going to send you this entire worksheet. So I have a beautiful worksheet that is all about you sitting and really intentionally going through a limiting belief that came up tonight. So what I want you to do right now, do a little line like this on your paper. Okay, we're going to work quickly through the beginning of this, and then I'm going to turn it over to you. So limiting beliefs. I want to know if you could pick one that, as we spoke this evening, what came up for you? One belief that you wish to work on, one belief that you wish to change. I want you to write it there right now. Focus on one. Could be I'm not good enough, my partner doesn't care about me, my family doesn't approve of me, there's not enough money to go around. Okay, we're going to work through this activity a little bit just so I can get you started on releasing some of this energy tonight, and then I'm going to turn it over to you. So step 1, what is the belief you wish to work on? Step 2, now be honest about this. Is it true? Like, is it really true? Can you absolutely know for sure that this is true? Or do you just believe that it's true based on your past experiences? Step 3, What is the payoff here? What are the benefits of you holding on to this belief? How is it serving you? What are you benefiting by holding on to this belief, and how does it serve you? Next, what is the cost? How does it alter who you are? How does it affect your behaviors? How is it impacting your attitude? What is the cost of holding on to this belief? Next, what images come to mind when you believe this thought? You can close your eyes, you can do whatever you want to do right at this moment. This thought, this belief, what's the image that comes to mind? When you say it, when you think it, what's the picture? This thought, next, does this thought bring peace or does it bring stress into your life? Peace or stress when you think about this thought, when you picture it? Next, can you see a stress-free reason to hold on to this belief? Think about the belief. Do you see a stress-free reason, one that does not cause you any worry, any concern, to just keep this and to hold on to it forever?
Sarah, I don't understand that question. Could you clarify?
Absolutely. When you think about this belief, okay, and think about keeping this belief forever. Can you think of a reason to keep it that does not cause you any stress or any concern? Like, I'll just keep it. I feel totally fine. Do you feel at peace with that? Can you come up with any reason that this is great? This is something that I'm just going to hold on to forever, and I don't see any worry about that. Can you find a reason that is stress-free when you think about keeping it forever? Just a few more. Next, who would you be without that thought? Who would you be if that wasn't a thought that you had regularly? Only 3 more steps. And I'm going to give you this sheet so that you can do this again at home. Now, turn that belief around and make it into a positive message. For example, if your belief was, I can never make enough money, then the new thought becomes, I can always make enough money. If the old thought was, I'm not good enough, then the new thought is, I am good enough. I keep putting brain power on, Valerie, over and over again. I put it on my temples and I put it on my brain stem, and it helps me focus and just feel good in my brain. Ready? Next. Is your new thought as true or more true than the original belief? Is your new thought that you just wrote down, is that as true or more true than the original belief? Last, if you lived this new thought, what would you do differently? If you really lived this new thought, what is it that you would do differently? Okay, my friends, you're ready. You are ready to do this. You can do this. I have resources that I'm going to send you. I have a great release meditation that I'm going to be sending you. I have a copy of this worksheet that you can work through and really take more time doing this for you. I have the free Tony Robbins book that I'm going to be sending to you. I have this book, again, is Ask and It Is Given. I can type that in. I know somebody asked about that. By Esther and Jerry Hicks. And you're ready, okay? What I really, really, really encourage you to do is to trust your instincts. Again, as a child, they are happy. Why? Because they go by what makes them feel good. You have the power to go by what makes you feel good. You do. You have that power within you, but it's your job to make the choice to do that. And you can do that by overcoming some of these limiting beliefs that you have, which is by being intentional with forgiveness of yourself, forgiveness of others. And not only that, but by being intentional. Remember, most people do not even intentionally think. They just react, and then they make excuses for why they reacted that way. You're here, which means that you are being intentional with your thoughts. You are being intentional with your time, and you have the ability to change the patterns that you have been living for decades. You can do it. You can. You can. Seriously, if I can do it, anyone can do it. Anyone can do it. So what I have for you, I'm going to share, I have I have all these resources. I'm going to collect your email addresses with this little form. Let me just get it real quick from you. I'm going to put it into the comments. Where is it? Give me one moment. I'm going to put it in the comments, and I'm also going to put it into the group as well. Please feel free to reach out. I'm back now. Please feel free to reach out with any questions at all. Here's the form. Please fill it out. You can click right here and do it, or you can, I will have it in the group as well. I really thank you for coming this evening and for taking time to be intentional with, like I said, with your time and with your thoughts, but please, your emotions, that is the barometer that you need. That is the barometer that you need. If you are not feeling good, change what is happening. You are in control of that. Choose again with another thought. You have that option. And it can be as simple as, I had a woman once tell me when I was doing a Reiki session, she said, sometimes I'll have this negative thought come into my head, and it can be as simple as looking around you and going, oh my gosh, I love that. I love that painting on the wall. And you don't have to say that out loud. You don't have to be saying all these things out loud all the time. People may think you're crazy, but again, that's probably a limiting belief too. But you can say these inside your head. You can be thinking something that is completely negative, because if you're anything like me, these things can just fly in your head like all the time. And you're like, holy crap, where did that come from? And you can choose again by choosing a different thought. Oh my gosh, I love that painting. I remember getting it when I was in Hawaii. And then automatically, guess what? It lifts you up. It lifts you up to that feel good vibration. It lifts you up to that feel good frequency. It lifts you up to that feel good energy, and just go around your house when you're feeling like that. And if you have someone who is combative, who you are living with, because I know that some people do, just know that you do not have to be empathetic and go down to that level. You can lead by example and stay in that energy, stay in that area. And guess what? You're going to see, some differences within other people's behavior too. You're not in control of the other behavior, but you are in control of your reactions in the stage that you set. So I will be recording this, Amber, and I will make sure that I post that as well. It's going to be on my YouTube as well. I have a YouTube that I've been putting all these recordings on, so I'll make sure to share that as well. Next week, we are doing a What's the Deal with Immune Support class. That'll be our Monday evening. And I will be sharing that in our event as well. So you are welcome to come to any and all classes. You're welcome to invite other people too. I would love to see all of you again, and I hope that you found value out of this evening. Please feel free to hit me up via email. I'll be emailing all of you, or you can Facebook, Instagram. Mindful Oil Moments is my page. I will just type that on there too. And thank you so much for taking time to spend time with me here this evening. I hope that all of you have a great night.